Hey there guys, welcome to Stanley Chess, glad to have you. I'm rated about 1800 ELO on chess.com, rapid, and a little over 1400 over the board USCF rating. I'm trying to get better, I'm trying to improve that rating, and play in more over the board tournaments. I played in one a few weeks ago, I've got one coming up next week, but this is a video series where I walk you through my tournament games, my analysis, my thought process, my emotions, all of that fun stuff. So without further ado, let's hop into this game. I'm playing with the white pieces against Weenie Hut Jr. here, and let's see what we got. We got e4, c5, so we have a Sicilian defense from my opponent. My opponent is a bit of a younger player, probably a bit newer to the game, and was probably taught, a little bit about the Sicilian. So let's see. We have c3. I'm going with the Alapin, and knight f6, which already I'm like, e5? Yeah, okay. e5, and then the knight jumps into the center. Of course, this is all fine, right? It's all book, but honestly, I like white's position. I mean, sure, like several thousands of games have been played in this position. I have not really played this before online. Usually people go for, after c3, maybe some knight c6, maybe some d6 or something of that nature. But knight f6 was actually, I think, the first time I've seen it. So I go ahead and push. And what's funny is online, after this tournament, I think I did play it once or twice, which is kind of funny. But anyway, e5, the knight jumps into the center, and d4, we trade. And, like what? I mean, the knight jumps back to c7. This is the point where I was really like, okay, we're going to win this game. It's the only game I won in this tournament, by the way. I lost the other 3 games. If you want to check out a previous loss, I made a video about it a few days ago. You can check that out. It's when an ordinary guy plays in a chess tournament. Let me know your thoughts in the comments of that one and this one. You know what? While we're at it, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. What you think of this video, this series, if you're keeping up, or just why you like chess, or what you're trying to improve on. I'm happy to, hear you guys' thoughts and interact with you guys in the comments. I'll reply to every single one, if I get the chance. So anyway, bishop c4. And the knight jumps back to c7. Now, this is not what black should do. Black should play, something like knight c6, developing a piece, or developing with check, or, playing d6, try to break apart my center before I can really solidify it. But instead, drops the knight back to c7, which is, this is not necessary at all. I can't really explain it. I guess he just didn't like the pressure. He didn't want me to double his pawns here or anything like that, but I don't know, man. So I just keep developing. I castle. I'm like, okay, let's get our king out of here, get the rook, available, and b5. Okay, that's fine. Obviously, the bishop is going to b7, right? Yeah, okay. Knight c3, and we're now we're developing, but here's the thing. Black wasted a bunch of time playing knight f6 to d5 to c7. a6 and b5, right? Black wasted a lot of time and now is trying to push d6 and open up the center without finishing any kind of development. Whereas white's king is already safe. The rook can come out here, and here every fiber of my being was telling me to play the move d5. Every single cell, every single mitochondria in my body was telling me to play the move d5 because I knew that my lead in development and my superior piece coordination and just, position in general versus black's lack in development and cramped pieces and lack of coordination, it's literally like polar opposites here, that I should be exploding the center. I should be playing d5, create the pawn cube, and just explode it. Here's why I didn't play it. Because I thought, well, actually, I wasn't thinking that well. I didn't calculate it very well, if at all, right? I was kind of jumbled up by all the possible moves. I was like, okay, he could take this way, he could take this way, he could not take, what am I doing? And I was just kind of psyching myself out. I'm like, maybe this isn't good. But I should have just followed my intuition because it is the best move by far. It's the only move to take a winning advantage. And the point is you played d5. Okay, e takes d5. Cool, let's go for this line. You can trade everything, and you hit the rook in the corner when your queen gets active, and then you can play bishop g5 check. The idea being, like bishop e7, I can take the pawn and just rip it all apart. Sure, all the pieces fall off the board, but not all of them. I still get the rooks. The king never castled, and now I'm pinning you, and I'm putting pressure on that pin piece. You can try and defend it. I'm going to hit your rook, I'm going to hit your rook, and then I'm going to win. Right? You're not saving this. So that's e takes d5. And I should have been looking at that line, not all the way as far as I just went, obviously. But, you know, I should have been looking at the forced moves. I didn't really look at what happens if all of these pieces get traded off. Then I hit the rook. Then I hit the rook in the corner on a8, right? The rook would have to move. And then, you know, I can play like maybe rook out, or I can play knight in or bishop out. Like I should have been happy with that possibility. I didn't even look at it, which is quite silly. And then let's look at another line. Let's say d takes e5, right? Then I can play bishop g5, apparently. The point being, if like f6, which looks pretty natural, right? You can actually sacrifice a piece here and sacrifice the bishop to get the knight and the queen in. If you play g6, common puzzle rush tactic here, the rook was on the other side and pinned, and black's position is just falling apart. And if something like king here, well, then it's forced mate in 11. Let's take a look. Queen f7, right? Knight e4, and you give up that knight. So you're down a bishop and a knight in this line, but it's still forced mate, because why is the king on e5 18 moves into the game? So anyway, you can follow this line here. The knight can give a discovered check, right, with the rook. I can't draw arrows today. And the knight hits the, you know, piece on b7. You're going to win it, and then you're going to win the queen, and then you're just going to checkmate the king. I should have played d5. And let's see what happens here if in this line, because there's a few really cool lines here. Bishop g5, just to really prove to you how good d5 is. If bishop e7, which also looks pretty natural, you can take, get the queen off of the d file. You can push. And there's no saving this knight, because you're hitting the queen. And, you know, you can black can try and go for this, damage my structure, and like give it check, but where is the knight going? There's no squares. You would have to like do this. But then, I mean, I just have too many pieces, right? This is mate. That's a rook. That's going to be a queen. And that's just bad. This is just bad. So, like, really, you don't have to see any of that to play d5. You just have to look at the position and say, yeah, white is dominating here. Let's explode the center. But instead I play this like knight g5, which is like, you know, a beginner like attacking move. You're like, let's play knight g5. But anyway, I was like, I had a feeling that it would work out for me just based off of like, I'm looking at my opponent and I'm like, you know, he played like knight f6, knight d5, knight c7. Like, I'm going to try and attack him this way. So h6. Oh no, I spoiled it. That's okay. Let's fast forward here. Let's see. Yes. So knight g5, and if something like bishop e7, then you can just play d5 here. Give up the knight, right? To play this, attack the knight. And this is just crazy. Like, your position is just so good, right? It's just so good here. Bishop d5, e d5, bad. Rook e1, you got to move the king. Queen takes d5, right? This is just, you can try this. It's not going to work. You get rook e7. That's mate. You have to play queen takes e7. And this is just, right? Like, what? Yeah, that's just not good. So there's knight g5, h6, which happens in the game. And this was my idea, queen h5. Threatening, checkmate on f7, and you can't take the knight because of this. So he plays g6. I play queen back, still pinned, right? You can't take because of the rook. And bishop g7, and I play knight takes e6. Now, computer says this is a blunder because black can hold on here. And that I should instead have played like knight ge4, or even knight takes f7 works with king takes f7 and f4, blowing open the f file, getting the rook and the bishop involved, which also looks pretty good. But I saw this line where after knight e6, f e6, bishop e6, knight e6, queen e6, queen e7, queen takes g6 check, queen f7, queen takes d6, and I'm like, okay, so I win back all the material and pawns, and I'm like, the king is stuck in the center. I'm attacking it. I'm gonna figure it out and win the game. Which, you know, all of that happens, right? All of this, except here, he didn't play queen f7, which I thought was the move, which it is. And black is slightly better, but you have to play accurately. That's the thing. Like, I thought queen takes d6 here, but this is just bad. Bishop f8 kicks the queen, and even with two connected pass pawns in the center, the black king in the center, your queen shredding it apart, you're up a point of material, f4 is coming, the bishop is coming, the rooks are coming. Apparently, black is better. What? Who's going to look at this position and tell me black is better? The computer. That's who. That's who. I, especially from like here, I was like, no way black is holding on there. But apparently, yeah. After queen f7, queen takes d6, bishop f8, you know, this is the only square for the queen, really. And takes, right? Now this pawn is weak, and black is going to figure it out. Right? Check. You have to, you know, f3, try to get the knight to e4 or something, blunt the bishop. They win back the pawn here, and now material's equal, but you are down a piece, right? You're down a bishop in a wide open position. Black has the bishop pair, and the king is more active as pieces start falling off the board, and you're going to feel the presence of those bishops, right? The rook can come out and just apparently black is better here. It's just ridiculous. But you have to defend accurately for all of that to happen. Or instead, you know, if here queen f7, you can play the best move, which is queen g4. Then there's like h5, kicking the queen back. And then opening up the center because you want the bishop pair to be open. And like, who cares about development and the king being in the center, right? Black is better. And then knight d7, the rook can come out. Oh, who cares? Let's attack white. And then the queen can come up. Castles with the rook and the queen, right? Who's defending this? And the pawn, like, what? Who? What? So this comes out of nowhere, right? And the black king is just totally safe. You try taking the pawn, but you lose e5, and this is just going to be game over. This is just terrible. And if I can't believe that this is a thing. None of that happened, mind you, because instead he played king d7. And now I'm just winning, right? I play rook e1. I should have played e takes d6 right away. I don't remember what I didn't love about this. I was like, I'm definitely winning, but I was like, queen f6. I don't want to trade queens. But here there's like queen g4 and the knight jumping in to force a trade, and you hit the rook, so the rook has to move, and then, you know, you're going to give the check with the bishop here, and you know, black is just going to be very, very sad. You know, you can play like d5, apparently. What is d5? What is d5? What's the point? King c8? Why would you play king c8? But what do you play with black? You know, like bishop back, do nothing. I don't know what the point of d5 is, actually. I guess just to take away these squares from the king, huh? But the queen was already doing that. That's very weird. Anyway, that was a possible continuation there. But instead I brought the rook, thinking, okay, let's bring the bishop out, defend the rook, and we're going to put pressure on the file and just kind of slowly build up our attack here. And so the bishop goes back because what are you going to do? And takes, which, you know, you're not going to do this, right? Because you would just lose more material. And the queen is hit, so you can't really do anything. So the queen goes this way, but I just win the rook, right? And my opponent played it out here. It is mate in 4. I didn't find mate in 4, but I did find mate in 9. Not force mate in 9, but it's mate after 9 moves in this game. Yeah, so the queen gives a check. He played it all the way out, which was actually kind of nice, so I could get the checkmate on the board. Bishop f4 check. I was like, okay, let's develop with check. You have to block with the queen. It's literally the only move. And then takes, right? Take with the queen. And here I was looking for mate, but I was like, let's not draw the game on too long in terms of like actual time, like seconds, not time over the board. And I was like, let's just trade pieces, get the rooks over. And here it's kind of funny. I don't know why I played rook EC1. As soon as I played it, I was like, why didn't I play rook AC1 and keep this open? But anyway, I was kind of like not really paying attention at this point. I was like, I've already won the game. So I bring the rook, I win I just checkmate, the game is over. So this was a pretty good game. If we run game review, I played 81.5% accurate. And apparently, it's not giving me like a playing strength rating, but yeah, I played pretty well in this game. I think I took advantage of my opponent's lack in development, not in the way I should have. I should have played that d5 move. But if we play a quick recap of the game here, e4, c5, right? We have an Alapin Sicilian with knight f6, jumping to d5, and then after bishop c4, going back to c7. Big mistake on my opponent. He should have kept developing or improving the position. Instead, just passive move back for no reason. I castle b5, bishop b7, and here I should have played the move d5 to explode the center and go after the king with my massive lead in development, but instead this knight g5 and h6 pinning the pawn, and this blunder apparently, even though you're completely shredding apart the position, black is better. So after all of this, black can hold on, but not if you play king d7. You had to play queen f7, and here it's just game over. I attack the queen, I win the rook, and I'm just completely winning. You have to give up the queen, literally the only move. And then a few moves later, we run into checkmate here. So yeah, that was that game. It was the second round or third round. I actually can't remember. I should remember. E4. What was it? Let me go through my notation. E4, C5. This was round 2. I lost the other 3 rounds, as I said. But hey, if you made it to the end of this video, I'd just like to thank you. As always, I really do appreciate it. I'm serious, though. I will respond to your comments. If you leave them, I love to open a conversation with you guys. Love the game of chess, and I'd like to build a community of people who do as well. So yeah, make sure you check out these videos floating around up here somewhere, and have a great rest of your day.